Hello everybody. I would like to try something new. I would like to generate graphics using JavaScript. On this channel, historically speaking, we've been coding all kinds of graphics we've only been coding graphics in C using STL, which is one hell of a mess and it's incredibly difficult. And I know I was always skeptical of using the latest frameworks, etc. But I think today is the day where I will give it a go and just try something new for the sake of trying something new. And the background story is just today I was sitting down and I was recording another STL video. I'm not sure if I'm going to upload it. And I was freaking out over having to set individual pixels and having to do all the math for rotating basic shapes, such as rectangles, in my head and then turning that into code. So that is horrible. I just want to have an easy way without reinventing the wheel to just have some fun with graphics. And I know a lot of you love C and love seeing graphics being done in C, but today is the time, or now I really want to try something new. So let's just jump right into the introduction to p5.js. As a small disclaimer, I have very, very, very little idea of JavaScript. So bear that in mind and yeah, don't be too harsh with me. So the goal of this is to generate some basic, whatever, moving shape or some basic animation, something that moves, something that is graphical, and render something on the screen. And the screen is, in this case, probably going to be the browser. I will need a browser and a computer. I have both of those. As you can see right now, we're in a browser and I am recording this on a computer, obviously. Now choose the type of coding environment. I have a coding environment right here, which is my Vim instance. We're going to try to stick to at least this tradition. And then, but of course, if you follow along, you can just use any editor. Use a text editor. Nobody cares. And now this is a library, right? p5.js. How do I get this library? I probably need to download it somehow, right? Now, that's the point where I'm already looking up the documentation. And let's have a look at what we can find here. So the editor begins with the following code in the sketch.js file. Is the sketch.js file the file that we are coding? A p5.js sketch is a text file with code written in the JavaScript programming language. Yeah, JavaScript is a programming language. I find it quite interesting that this is a JavaScript framework, and in the introduction, they explain what JavaScript is. And that already covers a lot of the nature of JavaScript frameworks. Probably similar for other frameworks as well. People just jump right into the frameworks without knowing the basics. So the tutorial has to explain what JavaScript even is, even though it's a framework built on top of JavaScript. Yeah. So with p5.js, you can create programs that are colorful and animated with features that users can interact with. Yeah, great. We've been doing that in C, and it was a pain. It was really, really painful. The editor begins with the following code in the sketch.js file. So let's just copy what we see there and call that file sketch.js. Okay. So we have two functions, one to create a canvas, and the other function draws the other one is a function draw, and it probably sets the background somehow. But let's look it up in the tutorial what all of that means. The code above creates a canvas element in the preview that is 400 pixels wide and 400 pixels high. It sets a background to a shade of gray. Okay. Computer screens are made up of tiny lights called pixels. Okay, we're jumping into hardware explanations now. Pixels are the smallest elements that make up any image. Yeah, they are. By the way, if you're ever coding graphics from scratch, figuring out where to put a pixel or how to color a pixel is not straightforward. Well, okay, for some it is, but you have to be really, really good at geometry. Or, well, not really, really good, but you have to have a good intuition. Yeah, okay, now this is an explanation of functions. Let's just skip over that. I'm not going to explain functions to you guys. You all know what that is. Now, I still don't know how to bind that dependency. How do I do it? Sketch 5, p5.js. So how do I download that? I mean, I probably have to download a file, some library file, right? Start coding. This is an online editor. I don't want to use that online editor. It uses an index HTML and a style CSS. Probably we can just steal those. So let's create a new tab, index HTML. And let me just steal that index HTML. And I see, okay, these script tags already download the dependency p5.js. And what is the other one? p5 sound. Okay, can p5 also do sounds? If yes, that would be quite interesting, actually. And then I'm going to steal the other file, styles.css. Was it styles or style.css? Style. Tab E, style.css. Okay, so we now have this sketch.js file. We have an index HTML. What does it actually do? It has a head tag. The head tag references the scripts and references the CSS file and sets the character set, and then basically just invokes the script, or well, calls the script here. Well, does it even call the script? Not really. It just says that this script exists, if I understand it correctly. But at some point, this setout function must be called. Probably, maybe that is done from the dependencies. I don't know. Okay, and the style CSS is setting nothing of interest here. Okay. Now, how can we see the result of that? Let's just exit. Okay, yeah, I think I need to exit Vim. This is the directory in which I created those files, and let's call the Explorer in this directory. And now the Explorer opens up here, and I can probably just open that index.html using Firefox. Open with Firefox. And there it is. This is our gray canvas. Good. That is a good start already. Okay, so we've generated this gray canvas. Did I just say black or gray? Anyways, I will open index.html, sketch.js, and styles CSS here. Again, they are now all in the buffer, right? But let's just tab them again. That's probably better. Tab E, styles, CSS. We actually only need the CSS file. So let's just figure out what that 220 in the background even means. Or let's just change it to 120 and see what happens in the browser. When we refresh it, we get a darker value. So probably this is a grayscale value, and I assume that 0 is black. Yes, and probably then the maximum value is 255, which is the highest brightness. And this looks like white. Yeah. That means probably also if we pass 255, 0, 0, then we will have red, because this is red, green, blue. This would be the common RGB pattern. And that's so easy. Let's see. Now we have red with some blue, so this is going toward the violet direction. Let's see. Pink. Maybe let's just do some. Let's reduce the red part and increase the blue part. And let's see what the total result is. And that is some violet shade. Great. Okay, so we have figured out what that background command does. I would like to keep it at some gray maybe. And this is our result. So let's close that beginner editor there. We're pros. We're the pros. We're probably also the only ones in the entire universe coding p5.js or any JavaScript in Vim, but I don't care. Then next step, what else can we do? Change the color of the canvas. Okay, we already figured that one out. Background, yeah, fine. Draw shapes on the canvas. If I can now just simply by invoking one command, draw a shape, then I will never use C and STL again. Maybe I'll use it again. I don't know. But this would be a huge improvement because the majority of the time we're trying to figure out how to set pixels on the screen in order to resemble shapes. And if we can just draw shapes just like that, then what point is there even in figuring all that out by ourselves? Okay, if this results in a circle, I'm going to freak out. Circle 200, 200, that's probably X, Y, and radius with a width of 100. Okay, diameter. I think it's diameter. Draw. Circle. Wait, let me just change the indentation here. Someone's going to freak out about my indentation, but I want it to be tabbed. Well, not tabbed. I can show you that those are spaces, but I want 4 spaces. Okay, background. Now circle 200, 200, 100. If this is a circle, that would be awesome. Let's pull up the browser again. Let's refresh that. And we have a circle. Oh my God. That's awesome. That's really awesome. Now what's the next step? I'm excited. Your code should look like this. Yeah, okay, fine. Create, okay, blah, blah, blah. Oh, what's that? Create. p5.js has many functions you can use to incorporate both static and interactive elements in your canvas. Replace the background and circle commands with the following text. If mouse is pressed, why do they even list true here? I mean, if mouse is pressed would be enough. But okay. Fill 0, else fill 255. We color something black, else white. Oh, and then we say circle at mouse coordinates. Okay, where do these mouse variables even come from? Probably from the library itself. Interesting. So a lot of stuff is taken care of already, and it's really hard to appreciate the amount of logic you don't have to implement yourself if you've never done it yourself from scratch. Okay. So if I understand correctly, if I do fill and then probably something like blue, then the circle will be blue. Let's have a look. So I wrote the file and I'm pulling up the browser again. Let's switch to that tab and it's blue. Oh, crazy. And it's really nice that I can just specify blue here. But I can also specify using the RGB format. Let's do something like this and it will still understand. That's awesome. So the method is overloaded and accepts multiple input formats, which is really cool. I will keep a white circle. So basically we set probably the color of some pen, I guess, and then we're using that pen to fill the shapes we're drawing. So any shape that is called after that fill command is going to use the shape's color. Apparently something did not work as I expected. Why? And probably, there's something that we can check. If you are not very familiar with developer tools, they are very, very, very useful. We should see something in the console here. Let's refresh the page. Let's see if we can get an error. Yeah, there's an error in Sketch.js. And there's a typo up here. Let me just reload this, and we have our gray canvas with a white circle. Awesome. Okay. This is good. This looks very promising. Now let's check. Let's use these mouse coordinates. So we're going to draw the circle at mouse X and mouse Y. And let's do this, and we have a circle that is tracking the mouse. Wow, that's really nice. Awesome. Okay, and it looks like there's an example which draws circles over and over, but I don't really understand why the circles persist here. I mean, in our case, we're drawing the background over and over. So let's remove that background, and this should result in persisting circles. Probably we can put that in the setup. And let's do that and refresh. And we have persisting circles. That is really cool. So just with how many lines of code? Well, 2 function declarations and 4 code statements, one of which is implicit, I mean the fill white one, we can actually have or generate some interesting application here. Of course, it is not useful, but it is definitely doing something. And I think this has a lot of potential that we will make use of in the future. And I'm really happy that I can now try out a new technology and not just code in C over and over again. So if you have any suggestions on how I can improve my JavaScript setup, then please let me know. But I think for a beginning, this is completely fine. And I'm really happy with that result. It looks really cool. So maybe it looks better if I somehow collapse this tabs bar or this toolbar. But okay. Anyways, I will figure something out. This is awesome. See you next time. Bye.